Outpost 16 is here, and today I want to cover the suggested upgrade progression, along with 3 big mistakes that various different people might make. Hey everyone, Derpy here, and welcome back to another Battle Pirates video. Well, happy Valentine's Day here. It is February, which means that we do have a new OP upgrade, and today I'm going to talk about this upgrade, when you should do it, which is basically instantly. You'll need to for your dock. Talk about the suggested upgrade timeline for both PvP and PvE players, as well as cover a tip for beginners. Now, the first thing I want to show you is that you can actually upgrade your outpost initially completely for free. It is going to be 21 days worth, and that is with an officer. If you don't have one, or don't usually have someone assigned to you, make sure you do assign someone to this one, otherwise you'll be in for a pretty bad day. This 21 days of upgrade time does seem like a lot, but I do have lots of different structure tokens stacked up. I have 3 times 5-day structure build tokens, been saving them up ever since the last OP upgrade came out. Several 2-day structure tokens. I'll show you a trick with the raid prize redemption as well, and then some 1-day. I didn't quite fill up my 10-hour ones. In any case, we can upgrade our outpost pretty much instantly. If you can't, that's fine. You'll just have to wait a long time to do it. Hopefully you can use the 5-day one Kixeye gave out for free, as well as earn some other ones in pillage and other events like that. In any case, now that we have gone through our complete 5-day ones, we're on to using 2-day tokens, and that's okay. We can get our outpost actually all the way done here. I am going to waste just a little bit of time. I could wait 4 hours, but I'm not going to because I want to show you the stats and some of that other stuff. Okay, so our outpost is now all the way upgraded. We have a cooler picture, access to higher dock levels, defense platforms, portal, advanced lab, intel lab, naval lab, retrofit, tactical, etc., and all the other things that I've got up on screen here. Now, once you do this, the first thing you should do as a new player is go into your TLC and actually do this enemy at the gate TLC. This will ensure that every one of your labs is upgraded to the OP 15 level, and that you'll have the essentially one below the maximum level on everything here, so you're not wasting extra time. That's something that is always really, really helpful, and looks like I don't even have everything up to a level 17 defense portal, so that is new there that was added, so I'd recommend doing this thing first, at least up through prize pack 3 first. If you go all the way up through the mastery, you can actually redeem defense platform build tokens, which is really, really nice. I would recommend people do this TLC. It's a garrison one with Triari. You can probably use Covenants and do pretty well on that one. Otherwise, the Arc Triari combo works really, really well. That's what the number one mistake here is for new players is not doing this TLC. If you're upgrading your advanced lab from level like 21, you can immediately just jump to having it at level 28 instead of having to start really, really low. So that should be pretty helpful. The next most common mistake, which by the way is not the biggest one, is that instead of starting to upgrade any of this stuff, now you want to go to your tokens and use your defense platform build tokens to help upgrade some of your turrets. And this is because these are a 2-day 6-hour upgrade, which means you can do it in a 3-day token, and make sure you don't use your regular structure build tokens, just use your regular ones, your defense platform ones. That gets up to a level 18 turret, which is pretty cool, and will be helpful as we start to see new PvP conquerors. The Baron's already out, and we'll see other tier 13 stuff. I don't have a good indication of which one's better to do your backline or your frontline turrets. I'm inclined to say you should leave your backline turrets alone because we just had a bunch of upgrades for these ones, and these, like the missiles and the cannons back here, are pretty new. Things like the Armageddon scattergun and stuff like that is pretty old. So I'm going to recommend that you do your frontline turrets first, maybe your midline if you have some of that. That's just my personal guess here of which ones you should do first, which will again help you be stronger and help you avoid getting damaged during attacks. Because, by the way, if you have your outpost and it's not all the way done, it can actually get hit and you can have like an 8-hour, 12-hour repair time, which will slow down your upgrade time. So that's just something to be aware of. Now that I've burnt through my tokens here, I could go do the TLC and get a bunch more. I'm not going to do that. Instead, I want to talk about the next suggested upgrade progression. Now, regardless if you are a PvE or a PvP player, that is, whether you care about stuff like Assault, Garrison, Skirmish, or Conqueror, I'm going to recommend you upgrade your dock. Now, yes, you can still repair your fleets when your dock is upgrading. You can't do that with the Conquest Yard, which I will discuss in a moment here. You should upgrade your dock because it increases this max weight from 2.75 million to 4.25 million. This maximum dock level will be needed in order to run 5 of the Prowlers, or theoretically 5 of the Barons, in one fleet. So this is really, really important that you do this very, very quickly and you get this going. I don't think I have quite enough tokens to get it upgraded all the way here, but I should have enough that I can do it before the next raid starts, which is the important bit right here. Now, once you do the dock, my recommendation is going to diverge a little bit for PvE and PvP players. If you are player versus player, I'm going to recommend you go down to your portals and start to upgrade these ones. Of course, if you're a big PvE player, you don't want to take 18 days with an officer or 20 days without. And instead, you are going to want to go through and maybe even actually consider getting the portal offer. They have one, which is not bad, $30 to get 2 portals up or 1 portal up. That does actually seem pretty expensive, but hey, you know how PvP players are. You should start to do those ones if you care about PvP. Now, if you don't care about PvP, instead you can shift over to upgrading your labs. Now, the order I would upgrade labs in is actually pretty important. To give you an example, if I open up my shipyard and I go through my Prowler, let's just go ahead and jump into the refit time right here. You can see that it actually just says it's suggesting like a 19-hour refit time or whatever. What I want to do is look at how this refit time changes as you add something like armors. So if I add just 2 of the limited armors, or this is going to go up from 19 hours, which is essentially 1 day, up to 3 days. So armors per ship takes 2 days. That's a pretty low time. If you look at the weapons, how long it takes to add in every single one of these weapons, that's going to be much more than essentially 2 days, including the heavy weapon, which I don't believe is actually out yet. It might be in the Forsaken mission. That is up to 6 days, which means you're spending 5 days worth on weapons and 2 days worth on armors. In terms of the specials, and this may not actually be my exact Prowler build, I just want to throw on something pretty quick there, just so you all have an idea of some of the stuff that I'm thinking about for this, and so we can look at the rough upgrade times for some of this. And again, this is pretty quick and not my final build that I'm going to be using for this. This is a radioactive guy, so I should be putting radioactive specials on here. And let's see, super riot shells, autoloader 4. There's a bunch of different options that you can use on this ship, and I'll have a separate dedicated video on this. But what I want you to pay attention to, and that maybe even as I use some final specials here, and again, this is not my final build, you are going to be running into a case where you're going to have like roughly a 6 day, a little bit less than 6 days worth of time total, which is 5 days worth. So if you're keeping track at home, that's 2 days to put on armors, that is 5 days to put on weapons, and 4 days to put on specials. And of course, the actual upgrade times, and I could actually go over and show you some of this. If you go over to the Battle Pirates Discord server and look in the strategy player guide section, I have a spreadsheet right here which discusses the different times it takes to upgrade some of this. I'll update these times and whatnot. This should also be linked in the YouTube description. So as you can see here, the total time to get a ship from U0 to X1 is really high. That's 6 days plus 4 days plus 2 days plus 1 days at the maximum level, which means that what you're going to be spending most of your time on is upgrades. The second highest is weapons, the third highest is specials, and the fourth highest is the armors. That means that you should be upgrading your PvE labs in that order. Do the upgrades first, do the weapons second, advanced third, and naval fourth, almost like I have it out in order for that one. This will ensure that you're getting the most benefit and are actually able to do all those upgrades and take advantage of these build time reductions. You might say that as you go to upgrade your Prowlers, right, it takes more than the normal 16 hours to get to U1. It will be even more at those other ones. So make sure you upgrade this stuff all the way. And the number one mistake, which is maybe why you clicked on this, is don't spend any tokens, build tokens, refit tokens, upgrade tokens, whatever, until you've actually upgraded that relevant lab beforehand. when the Prowler TLC comes out, I'm going to save 100% of those tokens until I have upgraded my labs to the maximum possible, and it's right before the raid. That will let you have the best result. Now, once those labs are done, which again is important to reduce the time it takes to build something, and I'm going to try and do as quickly as possible, you now can start to consider the other relevant items. One thing that you can look at is the tactical lab, and this one actually could be pretty important when you might not realize it, because this gives you extra evade at tier 13.5. This is going to be super important for Siege because we generally see Siege having a higher evade flagship if it has King Killer and the flagship has higher armor points. If that is the case, upgrading your tactical lab early is going to be pretty important to get up to 20% extra evade on your fleet, which again is pretty big. And yes, if you're an alliance, if you have a crew, and if you build right, you can do that, get close to that, but the extra 20% can make a difference. That's probably next up in my list. Now, what I'm not really factoring in is the retrofit lab. The upgrade or benefits from the retrofit lab are a lower repair time for PvP ships, which doesn't make too much of a difference. Maybe it's the difference between 1 coin and 2 coins in bounty, or 2 and 3, 2 and 4 normally. It doesn't really matter, and people who care about PvE are not really worried about an extra 10, 20, 30% reduction for that. You also have an upgrade for the Conquest Yard, and what this is going to do, unfortunately I can't show you because I'm currently refitting the Baron, is that this is going to give you extra building damage for your Conqueror, and actually Defenders too, which is super weird, but extra building damage for your Conquerors at tier 13, so the Baron. That can make a substantial difference, not as much as it used to with Deflections, but is still worth considering. Note that we don't have any upgrades for the Launchpad or anything else like that yet, so this should be the complete list. Also, it's helpful to have your uranium banked all the way up, but you can get that pretty easily in today's game anyway. The last thing I would recommend upgrading is your warehouses. This is because you have a slight increase in armor, although they still die very quickly, and have an increase to power capacity, production, and for some reason we have a deflection increase, even though deflections mean literally nothing in today's game. And actually this one is, well, this is an old warehouse. That's a level 20 warehouse. What I want to do is click on a level 21, and hey, we don't even have warehouse upgrades. So yeah, definitely do those last. I haven't even done mine from last year's. So just something to consider. So to recap, I would upgrade your Outpost first, then your dock, and then, well, before your dock, use all your tokens to get your turrets upgraded. Outpost, turrets, dock. Make sure you do the TLC if you're a new player. Then jump into your labs 1, 2, 3, 4 if you are a PvEer. Otherwise, go down and do your portals. Once those are done, you can go ahead and pick whatever one of these buildings, tactical lab for PvE evade, shipyard or conquest yard for PvP damage, and then finish out with things like the retrofit lab. And then, hey, as soon as you're done, Kixeye is going to end up releasing a new pack in 6 months from now, which will have even more portal levels and warehouses and stuff like that, so you've been warned. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, go ahead and let me know with a comment down below, and better yet, share it with someone in your alliance or who would be helped by some of this stuff. And until next time, this is going to be Derpy signing out, helping you be a better pirate.